Hey, hello everybody, and welcome to my live video. I'm your girl, LaShawn R. Shelton. Happy New Year to you all. Welcome to my YouTube. Make sure you're subscribing. I am really horrible with getting people to subscribe to my YouTube page because I am building my Periscope page. And if you are on Periscope, please make sure you are following me. Tap on that screen. Hook a sister up with your super hearts as well as your hearts and share this out. I'm also on my business page at LaShawn R. Shelton. So I am super excited about that. Guys, listen, it is a new year, a brand new year. And I must say, this year has started out quite interesting and quite fruitful. I mean, for it to be a brand new year and all the wonderful things that are going on right now, oh my gosh, it is nothing but God, nothing but people who support, and nothing but people who believe in my vision. So shout out to everyone who is purchasing Prerequisite to Adulting 101. Guys, you are hooking a sister girl up with these reviews. Thank you so much for being candid, for being honest, and for just like helping me out by putting your reviews down. People are starting to ask more questions about the book because of it. And people are starting to find out what can they do to have the book in their school. So for those of you who are in LinkedIn, you'll know that my alma mater wants me to bring my book to that institution of learning. You'll also know that my book is now in 4 primary, secondary schools. The goal is for me to have this book throughout different school systems and to create a standalone program to help scholars out who may be a little bit behind the 8 ball as it relates to just adulting and just everyday life. Like, think about it. There are so many kids out here right now who are not getting that financial literacy. They're not getting that basic adulting. They're not getting the difference between renting and buying a home. They're not getting any of this stuff. So now, couple generational curses, couple in not knowing where their parents are, couple in they have elderly, and I mean elderly, like 80s and 90s elders watching them because they don't know where their parents are. It totally changes what needs to happen with our scholars as it relates to school. So my topic today is everyone's not going to go to school. Everybody ain't going to college. It's not for everybody. And when I say that as a highly degreed individual, I don't mean it in a condescending nature by saying they're not good enough for college. What I'm saying is some of our scholars are too good for college, right? And you may say, well, how are you an educator with multiple degrees saying that a scholar may be too good for college? And I'm here to tell you that they are. So everyone's not cut out for college. And the reason why is because there are so many scholars right now that are benefiting from tangible skills. For example, they may be excellent in taking something apart and putting it back together. They may be excellent with problem-solving skills. They may be excellent with creativity and being able to start a new brand. Okay, if everyone went to college, we won't have our welders. We won't have our electricians. We won't have our plumbers. We won't have all of these trades that don't even require you to go to college. So I saw something somewhere where it said, here's Tim. Tim went to college and got his master's degree in said concentration, right? Said major. But Tim can't get a job and he has $100,000 in student loan debt. So now Tim has to work at Arby's or Walgreens or Walmart or take a managerial role in something that he did not study. And then you have Mark over here who went to trade school and became a plumber and has 0 student loan debts and is making more than he ever imagined. Who's really winning here, right? So when I talk to my scholars, when I talk to my students, even with my degrees hanging up, they say, well, why are you pushing trade school and digital entrepreneurship? Because that is a wave right now. That's what's popping right now. That's where the money's at right now. That's where these kids are winning. Okay, I know more 6 and 7 figured individuals who never stepped foot in college opposed to those who did. my friends who are realtors and brokers, my friends in life insurance, my friends who sell credit repair. Lakeisha Marin, look her up if you think I'm playing. Lakeisha Marin. Lakeisha Marin went through several bankruptcies, several foreclosures because of the change of the market. She went through a fiasco with her finances, and she is now a 7-figure earner, helping other men and women get their credit together. She didn't go to college for that. It just took her to be a go-getter and to be able to talk to people. You don't need a degree to do that. Newsflash, you don't need a degree to do that. So now when you hear people saying, well, my child has to go to college. Well, what are they going to study? And if what they're going to study, is it going to render a career? Is it going to render just a whole bunch of debt and no remunerative results? Or are they actually going to be doing something? So my son wants to be a forensic psychologist and a forensic scientist with a minor in psychology. However, he says, Mom, I don't see the benefit in going to college. Maybe I'll go military first. And right now it's a little fuzzy and scary with the military, but I digress. That's his choice. So he mentioned possible military. Well, guess what? I know more people who are financially sound and financially secure who've gone to the military and retired, right? They retired at the age of 37 or 38, 40, pushing it. These are my peers, right? And they have a full pension. And then some of them were smart and they had another job. And they were able to work, say, for the state or for the city. So now they retired at 38, okay? And then some of them who are a little bit older than me gave 20 years to the city or gave 20 years to a federal job or a local job, and they have a double pension. And not one of them stepped foot into college. So no, I'm not saying, have your kids not go to college. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if your child, your mentee, your student, your church child, if they're telling you that they have a plan A and a plan B, and both of those are trade school or certifications, hear them out. Hear them out. Would you rather them to be happy in a trade, a skilled trade, where they're able to invest and bank their money and have a really good, decent way of living, right? And have no debt? Or have someone say, well, I went to Princeton to become a lawyer, but guess what? I'm working as a public defender, and I have $200,000-$300,000 worth of debt. Or I'm a dentist, or I'm a doctor, or I'm a pediatrician, and have all this debt, but I'm just working under somebody else. Long gone are those days where pensions are waiting for you after great service. Remember that dream they sold us? Girl, all you have to do, and it's in this book right here. Let me show you. It's in this book. Girl, all you have to do is go to college, be all you can be, and be somebody, right? And then when you finish, you're going to get a pension. What they don't tell you is you're working for 40 years, for 40 hours a week, and you have to beg to say, can I see my little girl graduate from school? Or beg to see if you could go and take care of an elderly family member because they're sick or they need help, or you have to beg to take off because you don't feel well yourself. And then after you work those 40 years for 40 hours, guess how much pay you get? A whopping 40% of it. That, my friends, is the biggest tax scam and biggest scam in history, because you get taxed to death with those dollars. My Aunt Emma, when I went to visit her, she said, Sean, I wish you would just find a job and just settle down with it and get your pension. And I had to tell her, and my uncle had to look at her and say, baby, there's no more pension like that. Those jobs are gone. And the ones who have pensions is a 403B program that doesn't render the same result. And some of them, the employer has an option to buy in and to match. It's not like it was when my aunt was working in the 60s and 70s and the 80s and 90s. It's not like that. My aunt retired from New York City, working for the city. And she collects a very healthy pension. But that was because she paid more into it than what she was supposed to. But then again, my aunt at the time was a single woman with no children. So if she was making, say, $4,000 a month, she had no problem banking $3,000 of it every month for 30 years. So she's good, right? But those jobs don't exist like that anymore. There's always some kind of hidden clause. How many people do you know had a beautiful pension waiting for them, and right before year 30 or 25 or whatever it is that you had to have to be vested, you get that, well, we can't keep you much longer, and you get an ultimatum. Either we give you a retirement package, a severance pay, or you lose it all. I know about 15 people, just thinking off the top of my head, that's happened to. If you get this book and read, you'll hear all about it. Paradigm shifts, and you'll hear all about job TKOs, and you'll hear all about why digital entrepreneurship is the way to go, why people are winning with it. There are so many millennials and Gen Xers and some baby boomers who caught on to it that are making a plethora of money online, doing honest work, right? I don't mean lewd, sexual, illegal work. I'm talking about they figured it out. Why have your internet? Why have social media if you don't make it work for you? Why have this idea in your head and you die with it instead of sharing it with somebody else? Everybody ain't going to college, y'all. And the minute you realize that, and the minute you accept that, that's when it'll be an easier transition for your young person to say freely what they want to do. My daughter wants to be a veterinarian with a background in forensics because she wants to know why animals die. And my son, he's like, well, I want to have a t-shirt line. Guess what? If you have viable options, let's go for it. And if that doesn't work, then your plan B is, all right, saddle up. Now you got to enroll for school. But I want us to stop with this cookie cutter stamp. You go to college. Everybody go to college. Myself included. I know a lot of people who went to college and were miserable at first because they couldn't find themselves or get into the groove. Like I have friends who had already shadowed people and knew what they were going to be. And like my soror Keisha Turner, she had already been interning at the job that she's about to retire from now. We're talking like 30 years later. She already put her time in, but that's because she knew what she wanted to do. You know, Leslie Nelson, that was my roommate. She knew she wanted to be a veterinarian, so she had already shadowed vets and so many other people. So if you have an opportunity to shadow these professions to make sure it's what you want to do, and that time counts, that is awesome. But don't be that student like me who changed their major twice. Because once you get in, you're like, I don't know if this is what I want to do. And then you get to the finish line, you're like, I should have stayed where I was at. And it wasn't because I was flaky. It wasn't because I didn't have good counsel. My parents walked me step by step by step. My mother graduated top of her class. My dad was pretty darn good too. But it was because I had in my mind to go to the military. And when that was shot down, I was like, well, I guess I'll go to school. But it wasn't my top choice. So let's stop forcing our kids to live our dreams, and let's stop living vicariously through them. You're wasting time and you're wasting money. I said it. You are. You're wasting time and your money. How many people failed out of school and you're like, oh, they're going to be a bum, and then they turn around and become more successful than those who graduate? Guys, that's my soapbox for tonight. I saw a post today and someone mentioned that. And I said, you know what, Dad, going to Dave Oliver, you are right. And it's in my book, Prerequisite to Adulting. Stop forcing these kids to go to daggone college because you went to college, or you didn't get a chance to go to college, or you want to be able to say, my child went to Brown, my child's in Dillard or Livingstone. Who cares what your kid is if they're not happy? Who cares where your kid is if they're not going to be successful? Who cares where your kid is if they're going to fail out? I'd rather stand flat-footed with my chest pumped out saying my son decided to go to a 2-year college to figure out what he wants to do, and now he knows where he's going. I'd rather stand flat-footed and proud and say my son's an entrepreneur and he's a digital marketer and he's so good at it, he's making more than all of us put together. Or I'd rather be able to stand there loud and proud and say my child decided that they're going to go to trade school and they're going to become the successful plumber or welder or electrician, or my child graduated and they've sold their first 5 houses in the first year as a realtor. That's what I would be excited about. So as you are in this FAFSA scholarship Pell Grant phase, Ask your child, what is their plan B? Ask your child what their plan is while they're in school. Ask them what their plan is when they graduate. And then from there, you'll be able to determine if college is for them or not. You all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Have a great one. And remember to be kind and gentle to one another. Listen and pay attention to what your child is saying. And most of all, it ain't about you. It's about their future. Don't stack them with student loan debt if it's not going to benefit them in the end. Instead, stack them with support and love, no matter which way they determine to go. Bye, everybody.